Oh man, I'm excited to get into this one. I've been waiting to preview this game, and yeah, it's going to be controversial. I already know that, so strap in, get you a snack, get you your favorite Thanksgiving meal or side, pecan pie, because it's going to be interesting. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Week 13 preview, aka Rival Week. Out of every single week of college football, at least up to this point, this is the most excited I've been, and it's not even close. Well, let me change that and go back on my words. Maybe I'm having recency bias because I was pretty excited for the Tennessee and Georgia week and also the Tennessee and Alabama week. But I still remember how I somewhat felt during those weeks leading up to it, and I would say I'm a tad bit more excited for this one. Why am I excited? Well, I'm glad you asked that question, my friend. It's rather simple. It's Rival Week, and we got a top 3 matchup with Michigan and the Ohio State. We also got the Iron Bowl at Auburn, Alabama, the Egg Bowls today. There's so many great games to look forward to. South Carolina, Clemson, and also USC and Notre Dame. I can't wait for that one. There's many more, and you already know we're going to talk all about it. This is the preview, and by the way, this is a part 1. We're going to do part 2 later tonight. This is the first time I've ever broken them up, and the reason for that is because a lot of these games deserve to be talked about more than 2 or 3 minutes. So for that reason, in part 1, I'm going to preview about probably 5 or 6 games, and in part 2, 5 or 6 more. I know many of you are looking forward to the Iron Bowl preview or the Michigan and Ohio State one. So this is the Michigan and Ohio State one, and later tonight will be the Iron Bowl. But like I said, we're not just talking about Michigan and Ohio State in this video. We're talking about 5 or 6 other games. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. I'm forgetting something. It's Thanksgiving. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you and try to be corny, but I do want you guys to know that I am beyond grateful for your continuous support. I know I can be crazy at times and also have some of the worst takes of all times. That goes without being said. But still, regardless of all that, I cannot stress enough how much this college football community means to me. And the reason I don't say subscribers, because I don't think it's subscribers. We actually feel like a family. It feels like I'm talking football with my boys when I make these videos. I really can't stress enough how much you guys mean to me. The only thing I know to say is thank you. Thank you, thank you, and thank you. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And hey, if you're taking time out of your day to watch this video, I also appreciate that. All right, Matt, blah, 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 shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, you know how we do it. We're jumping straight into it. First things first, let's go over this Egg Bowl because they play in like 2 or 3 hours from when you're seeing this video. Ole Miss is currently a 1.5 point favorite, and they've been shaky down the stretch. It's a very odd Ole Miss team because they beat the teams they're supposed to, but when they play in a big time game, they lose and wet the bed. And the saddest part about this game is that nobody's even been able to talk about it because the talk of the town has been about Lane Kiffin. Is he going to go to Auburn or is he going to stay at Ole Miss? The Egg Bowl is always a fun game to watch because it's the battle to see who's going to get to their 8th or 9th win. I kind of want to roll with Mississippi State just because Will Rogers, that dude can play. For those of you that don't know, Will Rogers is the quarterback for Mississippi State. When it comes to being an average or slightly above average college football team, that's Mississippi State. You kind of know what you're going to get out of them. Ole Miss, they're the wild card. For example, last week, they was losing 42-6 to Arkansas. They did come back and make the score respectable, but it was bad. I just have a hard time believing that Kiffin's not going to have his guys ready to go. I think Jackson Dart, the quarterback for Ole Miss, he's going to have a good game. I got Ole Miss winning by, I'll say 3. Next up, moving on to this game, because it does matter, even though it's not a hyped up matchup, we got TCU and Iowa State. As to where it stands, TCU, they're a 10-point favorite. And I would say that line is very low considering Iowa State flat out sucks. I'm going to keep this one short and simple. Max Duggan, love everything about him. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the country. TCU gets the win. But I got them winning by only 7 points. TCU has won 7 straight games by 10 points or fewer, and that's going to extend to 8. I mean, come on now, is it really a TCU game if they don't barely skim by? I don't think so. Taking a look at this one, and this is the last and final one before we get into the Michigan and Ohio State one, we got USC and Notre Dame. I'm excited for it. I understand not too many people have this one circled on their calendar because there's so many other good games to look forward to. But I got this in one of my top 3 or 4 games of the weekend. Number 1, because I want to see how USC and Caleb Williams will look against Notre Dame. I have no idea what to expect. Yeah, sure, anybody can look good against a sorry and beyond pitiful Pac-12, But how are you going to look against Notre Dame? Y'all know how I feel about Notre Dame. They're single-handedly the most overrated program of all time, but I think they do got some dudes on that team. I think they do got some dudes. That's a tongue twister, but I said it right. And what makes this game more intriguing, at least to me, is we saw Notre Dame only a couple weeks ago destroy Clemson. It's very clear and evident that if Notre Dame plays their B+ or A- game, they have a good shot to beat USC. USC is only a 5.5 point favorite, and there's just something about this game I feel like Notre Dame's gonna win. When it comes to the trenches, and this is important, and I've been talking about it a lot recently because it's gonna matter in the later half of the season, Notre Dame, offensive line, defensive line, yeah, I would say they're slightly better than USC. I don't want you to get it twisted. We're in 2022, having a great quarterback in great skilled positions like cornerbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. Yeah, that probably matters the most. But, and I have a big but, it only matters if you're even in the trenches. Because most teams, your offensive, defensive line, it's 1A, 1B. Like, for example, when Georgia and Alabama played the trenches, it's an equal matchup. Well, at least for the most part. In this game, I don't think it is. I think Notre Dame is better than USC in the trenches. However, when it comes to skilled positions, not even comparable. Caleb Williams is my new Heisman frontrunner. I got him leading the race. Jordan Addison at the wide receiver position. That dude is beyond special. You already know about him. And the running back for USC, which was the former Oregon running back, Travis Dye, dude can play as well, but I believe he's hurt. Yeah, he is hurt. I apologize. I kind of forgot about that, but still, USC, they're just explosive on the offensive side of the ball. And for that reason alone, that's why I find the matchup so fascinating, because I wouldn't say Notre Dame's a great defensive team. I don't even know if you can call them a good defensive team, but I'll show you the numbers. They're only giving up 20 points per game, and USC is scoring 43 points per game. Something's going to have to give. Do I believe this Notre Dame defense can hold USC to under 30 points? No. I'll just give you the flat out honest truth. I don't think so, but that's probably the X factor. If Notre Dame can hold them to under 30 points, maybe hold them to 28, oh yeah, Notre Dame's got a shot to win this game, and a good shot at that. It's kind of weird because when you think of Notre Dame football, you don't think of offense, but they are averaging 31 points per game, which isn't bad at all. I know we're in 2022, but if you score 31 points per game, you expect to win most of those, at least 8 out of 10. It's a tricky one because it's so hard to evaluate USC because the Pac-12 is pitiful. I kind of get the same vibes with the Notre Dame and Clemson matchup. Clemson, they play in a cupcake conference, and whenever they played a decent team, they got embarrassed. But, and this is the biggest but I've ever had, Clemson, they didn't have a Caleb Williams. Clemson, they had DJ Ugabadoogie. Clemson don't even have a quarterback at this current moment. And when I say Clemson doesn't have a quarterback, let me explain what I mean. I'm talking about they don't have a quarterback that can take them to an elite level. DJ Ugabadoogie, he's average. I've been so high on Caleb Williams ever since he's left Oklahoma. That dude is special. It's unfortunate that not too many people get to see him play because he is on the West Coast, but I'll give you a great example. We all know Bryce Young. That dude's a magician. He's unreal. Imagine Bryce Young if he was 30 pounds heavier and about 3 or 4 inches taller. That's pretty much Caleb Williams. I can't dumb it down more than that. And Caleb Williams, he's a better dual threat quarterback. This dude is just unreal. He's must-see TV. I can't wait to see how he performs on Saturday. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. I simply cannot bet against Caleb Williams. I got USC winning this one by 7 points. If Notre Dame wins, I wouldn't be shocked, but I cannot see him upsetting Caleb Williams. Finally, though, moving on to the main topic, the main encore, the main reason you clicked onto this video, we got to talk about Michigan and the Ohio State. Oh, wow, this is my first time seeing this. Ohio State has a 72% chance of winning this game, at least according to the matchup predictor. I don't even know what that's based on, but I do not agree with that. Oh, man, I'm excited to get into this one. I've been waiting to preview this game, and yeah, it's going to be controversial. I already know that, so strap in, get you a snack, get you your favorite Thanksgiving meal or side, pecan pie, because it's going to be interesting. If this game was in week 1, my preview would only be 2 minutes long, and the reason for that is because I would just explain to you for 2 minutes as to why Ohio State is 2 times better than Michigan, and Michigan's overrated and they don't have a chance. If this game was played in the first 3 weeks, I would tell you Michigan doesn't have a chance. That's the catch, though. It's not the first 3 weeks. It's week 13, and my opinion has completely changed on Ohio State and Michigan. At the beginning of the season, I thought Ohio State was 2 or 3 times better than Michigan, and I thought Michigan was an overrated team that didn't have elite speed to compete for a championship. My opinion has changed, though, and as the season has slowly continued to go by, or realistically, it's flew by, I've learned that Michigan is way better than what I originally thought, and Ohio State isn't as good as I thought. I'm still not sold on Michigan's offense with J.J. McCarthy running the show, but I'll talk about that in just a second. On paper, at least, it's a pretty equal matchup. You see the numbers. Ohio State's averaging 47 points per game, and Michigan's averaging 39. Ohio State's giving up 17 points per game, Michigan's giving up 12. And when it comes to all the other stats, you can see it right here, it's pretty even. The one thing that concerns me about Ohio State that all of these people was telling me before the season is their defense isn't fixed. And I'll go as far as to saying this, it's not even close to being fixed, it's average. I'm not going to say your defense is bad, and the only reason I can't say it's bad is because of all the talent you have, but it's nowhere close to being good. I saw it in the Northwestern game and the Maryland game. If you want to, and if you have good running backs and O-line, you can run all over Ohio State, and I firmly believe that. Oh, and what do you know? What does Michigan like to do? What is Michigan good at? Running the ball. Now, I know what everybody's about to say. Oh, Matt, what if Blake Corum can't go? He's hurt. I don't even think that matters. I don't think it matters. Whoever Michigan puts in there at the running back spot, they're going to have a field day. Well, maybe not a field day, but they're going to have a good day. That Ohio State front seven is not that good. Here's the thing with that, though, and where it starts to get tricky. You can't run the ball every single play. You got to have somewhat of a passing game. For example, last week where Ohio State barely beat Maryland by 6 points, and I know technically they won by 13, but it was really 6. What made Maryland so dynamic is that they had a great performance by their quarterback, Taulia Tagovailoa, which is the brother to Tua. 26 for 36, 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, a QBR of 91.3. He outplayed CJ Stroud. And may I remind you, Maryland has GameStop employees playing the wide receiver position. I'm not saying Michigan has Julio Jones and Megatron playing wide receiver for him, but they got as good, if not better, guys in Maryland. I would say my favorite and probably one of, if not their best wide receiver is Ronnie Bell. Do I think Ronnie Bell can have a day where he has 125, a buck 50, a buck 75, or 200 receiving yards? Yes, I do. The problem with that, though, is can J.J. McCarthy get him the ball? That's going to be the issue, and from what I've seen, he cannot do that. I think McCarthy is going to be special next year and in the long run, but this year he's not special. He's a game manager, and that's it. Can he make a nice throw, a good throw here and there? Yes, but for every good throw, there's 2 or 3 bad ones. And I know the mentality that Harbaugh is going to have going into this game. He wants J.J. McCarthy to do what I just said, game manage it. But game managing a game against Ohio State isn't good enough. Whether McCarthy wants to or not, he's going to have to drop his balls and have the game of his life. He's going to have to go out there and make the throws that Taulia Tagovailoa from Maryland was making against Ohio State. He's going to have to go out there and have some 50-yard bombs and 40-yard bombs left and right. I'm not saying he's got to play like Tom Brady, but he's got to have a good game. Whoever plays running back for Michigan, I don't care, but I'll tell you this. You cannot expect to run the ball 40 times and beat Ohio State. It's not going to happen. You got to keep up with their offense. I think it goes without being said. McCarthy, he's the X factor. He has a good or great game. Michigan, they could win. If he has an average game or a bad game, there's not a chance they win. On the flip side of the ball for Ohio State, when they have it on offense and Michigan's defense, this isn't even going to be much of a preview. You're not slowing down CJ Stroud and Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm not too sure why nobody talks about it, but when it comes to one of the best wide receivers I've ever seen play at the college football level, Marvin Harrison's up there. Footwork this guy has is unreal. The route running is top notch. I'll put it this way. He's basically watching like a 5 or 6 year NFL wide receiver play at the college level. Marvin Harrison is an NFL wide receiver that's playing at the college level. That's the best way to describe it. If you were to go in the dictionary and look up the word elite, there'd be a picture of Marvin Harrison Jr. sitting right beside it. I could talk about this guy for 7 to 10 minutes. I don't know why nobody gives him the recognition he deserves. He's elite. Do y'all know what that means? It doesn't just mean he's great at route running and he has average speed. No, he's great at everything. The only reason, though, he doesn't have 2,000 receiving yards up to this point is because whoever's calling the plays for Ohio State, I don't know if it's Ryan Day, their offensive coordinator, sometimes I think they're an idiot. The play call for Ohio State at times has been beyond questionable, and Ohio State fans, you know this. It's the reason why I can't give Ryan Day any credit whatsoever, because nobody's done less with more than Ryan Day. Because if you really want to break this down, Michigan shouldn't have a chance. Ohio State has way more 5-star recruits than them, but it's going to be a game. And I can't even believe for the life of me I'm saying this. Michigan has the better coach in this game, Jim Harbaugh. Yes, Jim Harbaugh is the best coach in this game. I can't believe I'm saying that. I gave him a lot of crap the prior years, but he's done an excellent job. And that's why I'm looking forward to this, because I think Michigan and Harbaugh, they got the better coach, may have the better game plan, and probably will have the better game plan, but Ohio State has the better players. Let's just take a look at it. Does anybody think J.J. McCarthy is better than C.J. Stroud? No. Does anybody think any wide receivers on that Michigan team is better than Ohio State's wide receivers? No. And even their running back position. Yeah, Blake Corum's great, But Travion Henderson for Ohio State, I don't even think he's going to play. But Travion, he's right up there with them. Wait a minute. I'm forgetting something. Didn't Michigan upset Ohio State last year? Don't y'all think these Ohio State players are going to remember that? Whether you want to believe this or not, that's a little bit more motivation these Ohio State players are going to have. I said all that to say this. I think Ohio State's going to have a great game plan. Those players, they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder, and that offense, they're going to light Michigan up. I'm not saying Ohio State's going to score 50 points, but they will get above the 30s. And like I told you guys, the X factor is J.J. McCarthy, and I also expect him to wet the bed. I don't think he's going to have a good game. He's going to feel the pressure of Blake Corum either A, not playing, or B, if he is playing, he's going to be at 70%. And McCarthy, he's going to force the issue and make some mistakes. And for that reason right there, I got Ohio State steamrolling Michigan, absolutely destroying them 42-17. 42-17. I like that. That seems like a perfect score. I think Ohio State's going to get a pick six, maybe a punt return touchdown. And ultimately, the storyline of the game is going to be McCarthy made way too many mistakes and not enough plays. I just don't know how you can pick Michigan to win. With what weapons? With what quarterback? McCarthy's not bad, but he's not good by any means. Look, like I said, Harbaugh is the better coach, but I can't bet against talent. I can't bet against it. It's the same thing with Notre Dame and USC. I cannot bet against Caleb Williams, and I for sure cannot bet against C.J. Stroud, freaking Marvin Harrison Jr. and all the talent they have on that roster. 42-17, mark it down. I can't wait to come back Sunday for the recap and see that I was right and I nailed the score head on. I'm excited for the game, but don't expect it to be too close. I'm very curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But